thank you again for being here this morning, continuing with the weekly Wednesday briefings. I find that they are fruitful, just in terms of how we communicate and me doing it directly to you. As I always do, I start with giving you overviews, and I start this morning just once again focusing on the front end on public safety. Always giving you stats from the New Orleans Police Department, and looking, and of course, as we have now completed the month of July, which was a big month for us, and also just showing continued and steady progress relative to fighting crime in the city. So looking at the preliminary data, year-to-date stats through July 29th, comparing 2023 with 2022, again, we just continue to see and show progress. Total crimes against persons remain at 19% down. Murders are down 21%. Armed robberies continue, we're seeing that downward spiral, 31%. Non-fatal shooting incidents are down 15%. Non-fatal shooting victims, 17%. Carjackings steadily down, right at that 44%. July stats, I talked about finishing off this year, July, and in comparison to July last year, again, just remarkable, I would say, progress and turnaround. What I think about on the front end of that, thinking about July of last year, was when I began my roll calls. Every district throughout the city, 7 a.m., 7 p.m., listening and the like, embedded or listened and embedded those thoughts and suggestions and given real consideration to the New Orleans Police Department, looking at platoon. You know that then entered into the phase of having a partner consultant with the New Orleans and Police and Justice Foundation. Chief Pichardo was on board at a thorough assessment of the department. 10-day assessment took place, and all of that, in working with the New Orleans Police Department, our leadership that's in place, we've just seen steady, again, progress, and I'm wanting to make sure that we continue on that path. As of July 28th, the New Orleans Police Department have confiscated 1,748 guns so far this year, compared to 1,500 this time last year. It's a 15.6% increase, which is a big deal. Every gun off the street is a step in the right direction. As I always tell you, what kind of keeps me up and makes me shake a little bit is just having a better understanding of the amount of guns that remain on the streets of the city of New Orleans, and looking at ways that we can keep the city safer, homes safer, and of course gun holders, meaning those that possess them, keeping those guns and weapons safe in homes. Even as we recently had one of our young people, once again, because of a gun, kept unsafe in a home, in our community, and in our city. As of July 28th, the New Orleans Police Department has made 2,144 arrests to date, compared to 2,059 at this same time last year, showing an increase of 4%. Increase is an increase. Progress is absolutely progress. 304 arrests for auto theft, only 181 last year. So this is up 68%. We do believe, again, this is contributing to the progress that we're seeing. Accountability breeds accountability breeds accountability, and I believe if we stay focused and stay consistent in our practices, looking at data to guide, we'll continue to see results. We can contribute, again, the drastic rise in auto thefts we have experienced this year nationwide. Again, if we can get this under control, our officers are working very hard, and we're seeing, again, things move in the right direction. We're wanting them to continue. 515 firearm arrests compared to 299 last year, up 72%. You know, I believe a couple of weeks ago, my days, and they kind of run together. But I remember just kind of being asked, oh, the city, they're making, these arrests, and maybe on these, is this the right thing to do? And I said, well, yeah, these felony arrests, they're important. We believe that small crimes even escalate. So if we can nip it in the bud and be proactive, then accountability breeds accountability breeds accountability. Again, 867 arrests for crimes against persons, violent crimes, compared to 909. Again, 5% decrease there can possibly be attributed to the decline in violent crime this year. And so again, looking at the whole picture, and according to our OPCD, looking at July and the culmination of it, 95.9% of calls in July 23 this year were answered in 15 seconds or less, and compared to the national standard of 90%. So again, progress there. We're wanting to continue in that regard. We know that our heroes under the headset have been working tirelessly, working overtime, but they are consistent and agreed to just continue that pace and scale, because we're seeing the results on the ground and throughout the city of New Orleans. Shifting now to heat. And I'm shifting the heat because it's not letting up, and this is just, I would say, just a part of our normal environment at this time. And we're embracing it as such, but working with all partners, as we just become as flexible as possible. In some instances, even flexibility is still too rigid. So we have to do what is necessary. These dangerous heats, the temperatures are very dangerous, and we do know that they're unprecedented, and particularly this year. The National Weather Service has indicated that this is unlikely the last excessive heat warning that we will see. So again, see this summer. So this is again being embraced as a normal environmental threat to the people of the city of New Orleans. Our Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, we're activating our EOC to a level 3. Again, this is very serious times, and it does require this because of the excessive heat warning period. And so, which means we're just monitoring around the clock. We're monitoring because it just requires that level of focus, that level of intensity. According to the National Weather Service, there's been 30 days in 2023, including today, that have felt like 108 degrees or even higher in some instances. And this is compared to 11 days total in 2022. So this is real. The data doesn't lie, and we're responding to it as best as we can in real time. And meanwhile, there were 24 days total in 2021. So again, the writing is on the wall, as my mom would always say. According to EMS, there have been 5 times as many heat-related calls in 2023 compared to 2022. And in June 2023, we had 90 calls, that's in 2023. June 2022, we saw 34 calls. So again, just looking at that data, 102 calls in July of 2023 versus 21 calls in 2021. So again, we're looking at measures coming from every angle within our public safety team, and transitioning and pivoting as necessary. And so, as I mentioned, we're embracing this. We're writing policies that will lend themselves to embedding heat waves as a part of our emergency preparedness plans. And again, just also in terms of how our employees that are exposed to the heat, that how they have to take care of themselves, meaning we as a city want to make sure that our people can take care of themselves in times of rendering service to the people of this city. Examples, parking parkways. Well, their work just doesn't stop, and it is continuous, and it is outdoors. They've held several meetings. A safety meeting was held on Monday to discuss signs of heat exhaustion and making sure that our people understand those signs. Sometimes, it's silence, it's silent killers, and even when you think about strokes. And so again, as we can educate our people, they can protect themselves, and we're doing everything again as a city to help take care of our people. Trucks are available for cooling. These are just some of the things that we're doing. Making sure that trucks, they stay on. Those ACs, we know that they're running. And of course, additional ice for all of our workers in both the morning and the afternoon. Making sure those ice buckets are filled. Water is there plentiful. And again, this is a part of just the normal routine, but also just stepping it up a notch. DPW is yet another department. Again, that infrastructure, the work is mainly outdoors. We make sure that they're taking frequent breaks in vans, again, designated as cooling stations for our people. Supervisors, again, are carrying ice, water, power aids, those electrolytes that we're told that they are needed, cooling pops, and the like. Again, these are measures that we're taking. Sanitation is also included in this. So when you see our people, if they're taking a cooling break, they're taking a cooling break. It's not that they're taking advantage of the city of New Orleans. They're taking a cooling break to deliver services to the people of this city. They matter, and nothing happens without the people. Our most precious resource in this city are the men and women who step up every day, every department, regardless of the challenges, put on the shield of service, all the armor that you need to go with you. I have it myself as well, but it's just that serious. Also, I want our people to stay connected by signing up for NOLA Ready. We give this information all the time, but we'll continue to do it. NOLA Ready, you text that, all one word, 77295. We're just seeing thousands and even hundreds of thousands that have joined, but we want to continue that, and especially our visitors as well. Marsh fires. Ooh, when I got this on yesterday, I'm like, oh my goodness, not wanting us to experience what we saw from previous years. We know that the New Orleans Fire Department, they're monitoring. They have been monitoring since the very start. We understand the lack of rain, the ongoing heat, excessive heat has played a role in this and has really created just a fire danger in the region. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, this is a federal area, is working to contain the marsh fire in Bayou Sauvage. And so we'll continue to monitor, continue to keep our people updated, but be aware, it does have an impact, and we do understand just the disparity gaps that exist in our city, and particularly around health and the alarming rates around asthma and the like. I'm one of those individuals. The New Orleans Fire Department, as I mentioned, has just been on the scene in the Michoud area, specifically Village de l'Est neighborhood as well. There are no immediate threats to our residents at this time, but again, we will continue to monitor and continue to give smoke safety tips to our people. Limit time spent outdoors, wear a mask, also just face coverings, but I will say that mask is very important. NOLA Ready has I mentioned this, over 400,000 N95 masks. Well, I mentioned over 400,000, in terms of the people who are registered NOLA Ready. But these are masks that we have, and we are prepared, and of course, to distribute, and we continue to distribute N95 masks. We ask our people to keep windows, doors closed. Run your AC, or just recirculate, I would say, in that mode, and use a clean air filter. For pets, limit walks outside. And of course, wipe their muzzle, their feet, and their coat with a damp cloth is something that we have been told to relate to our pet owners. We care about our pets. Fire department, I did want to mention this because as we have shared, in the past, and particularly through the month of July, even as we saw in June, we've had some issues with our HVACs, with our our AC units in facilities, quite frankly, throughout our city. And yes, our public safety teams are experiencing this. Heavily, we saw it on the front end with the New Orleans Police Department in multiple facilities. We discussed. Now we're seeing that same level, I would say, relate to our fire department. Property management has been on the case since the very start, and we'll continue, of course, to focus on facilities as well as equipment, our trucks. That the city of New Orleans put forth a very robust equipment, not only a plan, but a budget that was approved by the New Orleans City Council as we reflect and really focusing on our fleet and getting in fleet and tools and resources that our first responders need. This speaks to fire as well. It has been, it's been tough, as it relates to capacity, supply chain issues that continue to be an issue relative to purchases that we've made and when we will receive the necessary apparatuses. But we're managing through. The fire department has several front trucks that are 15 or more years. That's exactly why I fought not only for that direct allocation of money, but that is what we're utilizing that's allowing us to purchase fleet, build our fleet up. And that's also why I'm making sure that we build and we construct a real fleet maintenance plan. This is something that is built to live with this city for a long time. And of course, we shouldn't have to wait until a vehicle is out of line to therefore purchase. But again, with this opportunity that came our way through the American Rescue Plan dollars, it has allowed this city to pretty much purchase fleet that we haven't done in decades. But we're being smart about it as it relates to repairs, but also as it relates to purchasing further equipment. But I also want to remind you, this is also why we embedded the EMD, the Equipment Maintenance Division, if you recall. We embedded them into being our first responders and tied very much to the operations of our public safety teams. This is why we went through the process, getting through the Civil Service Commission and making sure that we're able to beef up pay, even as it relates to EMD, because we are hiring in EMD, but hiring in multiple departments in the city. But EMD is critical to the operations of public safety. I know I'm talking a lot, but this is my time. I'm going to turn it over in just a second. I want to touch on a couple other things. One, yesterday we did unveil the Family Connects partnership in maternal health with the New Orleans Health Department. This was work that we have been doing over the past couple of years, in spite of challenges, in spite of COVID, never taking our eye off the ball when it means meeting our people where they are and dealing with the disparity gaps that we know exists in our city and touches families in this city, particularly women, particularly black women, brown women in this community. Holistic approach. We know that in this state, 4 black women die to every 1 white woman as relates to maternal health. And this is something we know that the city of New Orleans, in terms of these stats, are driving, and that is exactly why this city put resources, hard-fought resources, skin in the game, our own money to deal with this problem that we're having, to ensure that, the 3,000 babies that are born in our community every year, Lord have mercy. We would have a population, I'm telling you, and census dollars that can come with it. But, the city is built for that, I would say. But 3,000 every year, this program should help 2,000 babies every year, right? So 2,000 every year we're looking to serve, and of course the moms, the families that are attached. This isn't leaving out our families who are the same gender. It doesn't matter. It means that they need the support as well. So the home visiting program is coming this fall, and these are much needed services that our families will stand to receive. As of yesterday, August 1, school is back in session. We know that August 1, I believe we have August 10th. I know that's when my daughter goes back, and then August 15th. I believe after August 15th, we will have then had the full complement of young people returning to schools in the city. I want to wish all of them well. Always good to be back in in-person learning without COVID, and also really embracing the campaign that the NOLA Public Schools has created, and that is, around truancy, but around absenteeism. Really encouraging our young people, encouraging families to do not miss a day, and definitely no more than 5. And also the city has put resources in through the Office of Youth and Families, working with the school system regarding truancy. We believe that the school system overall does have a responsibility relative to truancy. Our young people, juveniles, need to be in school. If they're not, we need to be notified, meaning parents, meaning partners, so that we can all take a holistic approach and holding everyone accountable to keeping these kids in school. This also speaks to the safety, the school zone safety cameras. Yes, they are back. Into enforcement. Look, 20 miles per hour. That's the limit. Keep the limit. It's about children. It's about safety. And it's about saving lives. 1 mile over is a problem. This is all about our children. So individual cameras will not start giving tickets until, again, we have the full complement. But they're back on. So with that, let me see. I'm going to be quiet, take my water, and I'm going to turn it to you, John, for questions.